Right now, before I get to the review, right now a good man who has been kind enough to give this budding, not so young YouTuber the privilege of appearing on his channel has unfortunately been taken ill. Thankfully he is recovering and hopefully should be back in action by next week, so until then, let's give him something to keep his spirits up. Let's get the Outcasts Creative up to over 3,000 subscribers before the end of the year. The link to his channel is in the description below. Also be sure to check out his content and like on every video you watch. Now on with the review. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, the classic story of goodwill, kindness, charity, and most of all redemption. The Muppets, the funny, lovable sock puppets that has continued to entertain families for 50 years thanks to the creative mind of the much-missed Jim Henson. On paper, these two should have gone about as well together as edible food served in a vegan bar. Yet with smart writing and great performances, especially from Michael Caine himself, they pulled it off and it has gone down as one of the many great adaptations of the Dickens classic. The story basically goes just the same as the other versions, except with puppets, with Charles Dickens, played by Gonzo the Great, narrating, with his trusted companion Rizzo the Rat just being there for the food.
Hey, wait a second, you're not Charles Dickens.
I am too.
No, a blue furry Charles Dickens who hangs out with a rat.
That makes sense to me.
Scrooge, played by Michael Caine, is a greedy old miser. He hates Christmas, is disliked by everyone, but one night he is visited by the ghosts of his former business partners, Jacob and Bob Marley.
How does Bob Marley like his donuts? We're jamming!
They warn him of three ghosts coming to visit him to convince him to change his ways. Will the ghost succeed, or is Scrooge doomed to share the same fate of the Marley brothers? For a film adapted from a classic tale including sock puppets, there was a chance this could have been more of the jokey, silly, madcap humour that has made the Muppets so charming and likeable for decades. But they surprisingly reel it back and present an honest, heartfelt, faithful adaptation of the Charles Dickens classic. Mild-mannered Kermit is well cast as Bob Cratchit, with Miss Piggy doing well as Mrs. Cratchit, yet still never losing the same diva attitude that made her so memorable. We also get Fozzie the Bear as Fezziwig, except he's now called Fozziwig. Get it? Statler and Waldorf provide the mean-spirited laughs as the Marley brothers.
You out? There was the year we evicted the entire orphanage. I remember the little tykes all standing in the snowbank with their little frostbitten teddy bears.
Gonzo is also very funny as Charles Dickens, and his chemistry with Rizzo does bring much levity to the most sombre scenes. In fact, these two might be the only ones that bring the more traditional meta-Muppet humour to the proceedings. I like the puppetry on the three ghosts, as well as the smart take on them. I like the fact the Ghost of Christmas Past looks like a child reflecting on the innocence and optimism of days long gone. I like the fact the Ghost of Christmas Present constantly forgets, as if his mind is more in the present, therefore living up to his name.
Come in and know me better, man. Did I already say that?
You did.
While other versions of the present become more stern with Scrooge in order to open his eyes to the consequences of his ignorance.
If he is to die, then let him die, and decrease the surplus population.
You use my own words against me.
So perhaps in the future you will hold your tongue until you have discovered what the surplus population is and where it is.
Here, he's more friendlier. In fact, I like how incredibly kind and affable he is to the point where Scrooge can't help but like him too. I even like how Scrooge seems to rediscover some optimism hanging out with him. I mean, come on, look at this scene. But even with Present's kind nature, he still doesn't kiss Scrooge's ass, especially when it comes to the scene where Scrooge is made aware of Tiny Tim's condition.
If these shadows remain unaltered, I believe the child will die. But what then?
If he's going to die, he'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
Oh, Spirit.
But goddamn do I love the look of the Christmas yet to come. There's something about that hooded figure and that empty void where his face should be that continues to haunt me to this day. Even Gonzo and Rizzo fuck off the moment he appears.
This is too scary. I don't think I want to see any more.
Oh, when you're right, you're right. You're on your own, folks. We'll meet you at the finale.
Yeah.
God, I miss the days when kids' movies broke you down to toughen you up. But what about Scrooge himself? Well, Michael Caine is great in the role, never scowling like most actors would, and playing the role with a much more reserved cynicism. He plays him like a man who doesn't think he's doing anything wrong, totally oblivious to the struggles of the people he walks past on a day-to-day basis, while still showing hints of a humanity he buried long ago.
It's a poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every December the 25th. But as I seem to be the only person around who knows that, take the day off.
And he still manages to be sympathetic, like the scene where he sings along to his former girlfriend in the past, which still pisses me off that it got cut out and still hasn't been put back in the Disney Plus version here in the UK. I like how he starts to open up when the present shows up. I love the subtle look he gives seeing Tiny Tim's optimism despite his critical condition. He never says a word, never overplays it, yet you can still see the warmness of Tim rubbing off on him more and more. And after his visit with Christmas Future is over and he has changed, you can see he's struggling to react to his newfound enthusiasm after years of being such a miserable old git.
Oh. I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy.
I love the song he sings. It's both heartfelt and uplifting enough to ignore Michael Caine's singing.
With a thankful heart, with an endless joy, with a growing family, every girl and boy will be nephew and niece to me. Nephew and niece to me. Will bring love and peace to me.
Yeah, okay, despite taking a piss, there's a real passion he puts into his performance. And to be honest, I'd rather watch Caine badly singing Thankful Heart than a shit Disney remix churn out.
And hear what I found. Remember the swamp? Remember my song in the swamp?
Is he the best Scrooge? Well, in my opinion, Alistair Sim is still the best. And I'll get more to him one day with a review of the 1950s Scrooge, if I can be asked. But as for Caine himself, he's definitely one of the best actors to have played Scrooge. As for the film itself, it's more restrained of the meta humour most Muppet movies and shows are well known for, but somehow it still works. The jokes are still funny, yet never take away from the sombre, thought-provoking moment. The set designs really look and feel like you're in an alternate 18th century London that's been inhabited by the creations of Jim Henson. And while I'm on the subject, this was the first Muppet film to be made without the man himself. He was a man who dedicated his life to creating these wonderful characters that endeared both children and adults. Sadly, he died at the age of 53 from a bacterial infection on the lungs. Richard Hunt, a well-loved regular Muppet performer, sadly followed before the release of this movie, and it's no secret the loss of both men are deeply felt here, which makes the speech by Bob Cratchit after losing Tiny Tim all the more poignant.
Life is made up of meetings and partings. That is the way of it. I am sure we shall never forget Tiny Tim, or this first parting that there was among us.
But back to one of my complaints, I'm still wondering why When Love Has Gone was cut from the movie. It's in the scene where Scrooge is confronted with reliving the memory of the woman he loved walking out on him. We see him singing along with her in the past, exposing him at his most vulnerable. It's a scene that shows there's still a heart to break, and to me, it makes him more sympathetic. But instead, we get an obviously cut down scene robbed of any emotional weight. But that said, it's still a fun, poignant, funny take on a classic tale that's bound to warm the heart of even the most hardened cynic. And whether you beautiful bastards are Northern English or not, thanks for watching, and do remember to like, subscribe and comment, and if you wish to support my channel, then the links are in the description below. But before I fuck off down to the pub, I would like to say a few words. Christmas time isn't always the easiest for some people. It can be stressful, frustrating, and even sad. Not many people have the fortune of having good people around them to love, and it can also be a time where your personal demons can cause you to feel weak, worthless, unwanted or unneeded. But whatever the problems plague you during the silly season, don't lose hope, don't put yourself down, don't ever feel like you're nothing, unloved or a burden. Never fall to despair, cynicism or selfishness. Get yourself out, talk to people you don't know or haven't seen or spoken to in a while. We have our problems, sure, but we are more than capable of doing more good than we give ourselves credit for. And you can too. And to all of you, rich or poor, whatever skin colour, wherever you live, what you do or how you spend your time, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.